Hey, blessings upon you and your day. This is Dr. Tiffany Lyght, and you are watching me on Women in Ministry TV. And this is a special segment of Faith Talk Live on Unapologetic Pursuit, where we make no apologies for pursuing everything that God has for us in the way that He desires. I'm so excited to be on this amazing platform of Women in Ministry TV. It's such a blessing to serve with other women of faith and encouraging others and sharing the word of the Lord and just also encouraging ourselves in our faith. So if you are new to Women in Ministry TV, welcome. Thank you for joining in. If you are also new to Faith Talk Live and to the ministry that God allows me to serve and how God allows me to serve, I am so thankful for you. I welcome you today. Say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Join in, share, dialogue with me. All of this is so important and it helps to keep the broadcast going, to keep it moving. So, welcome. I'm so excited to have you. And as I said, this is Women in Ministry TV. And we are so excited to have you. We are so thankful for the platform, for our amazing visionary, Overseer Jacqueline Battle, who was obedient to the call and mandate of God to bring women of faith together, to share the word, to encourage, to be in media. And so we're so thankful to her for her obedience to the Lord. And I wanted just to get on and encourage you this evening, to encourage you to not give up, to not lose hope, to not lose faith. A lot of times in our walk with the Lord, a lot of things happened, and a lot of times people think that it's easy or life is supposed to get easy because we've accepted Christ and because we have a right relationship with Him. And that's not always the case, and that's not the truth. He says many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivereth them out of them all. So there is deliverance for us because we are on the winning team. We are on the team of the Most High God. So that's the assurance. Not that we won't have affliction, not that we won't go through stuff, but that we have the victory because we are on the winning team and we are with the Lord. And a lot of times we don't have the best perspective in that. And we don't always go through those trials in the right way because we're thinking that when we walk with God, that it's supposed to be easy, that it's supposed to be, simple, that we're not supposed to have to deal with this. But that's not true. And He says that there's no test, no trial, no temptation above which that He's not already given us a way of escape. So He's given us the victory. We already have a way of escape. We already have the victory, but we just have to know that we have the victory and we have to walk it out. And we have to not be afraid to call on Him and to say, Lord, I can't do this in and of myself, but I need your help. So I want to get on and encourage you. I want to get on and encourage me. I want to get on and encourage anybody who's watching that it's all working together for our good. It's all working together for my good. It's working together for your good. It's working together for our good. Why? One, because we love God, and two, because we're called according to His purpose. And that's what Romans 8:28 reminds us. That is working together for our good. One, because we love God, and two, because we're called according to His purpose. And that's an amazing thing to know, that it's working together. And it says that all things are working together, not some, but all. Everything, anything that we can go through, anything that we can face, anything, any challenges, any tests, any trials, whatever, is working together for our good. All of it, the good, the bad, the indifferent. It's all working together for our good. One, because we love God, and two, because we're called according to His purpose. God is so faithful. And so I want you to be encouraged in that. I want you to be encouraged in knowing that it's working together for our good. And so I just want to get on today to let you know, don't give up. Don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. Don't get discouraged in the journey, because life seems to be lifing right now, because things seem to be a little bit difficult, because you're in a hard place, because you're in a place that you don't quite understand, because you're in a situation where it doesn't look like what God promised you. You're in a situation where, hey, yeah, I may have had to move back home with my parents, or yay, or I may have had to move in with a family member, or hey, I may have had to sit out this semester in college, or hey, I may have had to go do a different job, or hey, I may have had to, I'm not a mom yet, but I know what God has promised me. Yay, I may have had to, all of those things, all of those things that you don't understand, those that pit that you may have been in, that prison that you may have been in, all of those things is working out together for your good. One, because you love God, and two, because you're called according to his purpose. But how you are doing the process is what makes the process what it is. How you are doing the process is what makes it what it is. And I often think about Joseph, because he is a model for enduring, and a model for staying the course, and a model for what it means to go through and to endure, and to endure from a good place, to endure and to come out with a healthy perspective. He is a model for that. He is an example of what that looks like, of what that means. And I think about how when he had that dream, excuse me, sorry. When he had that dream, and he saw himself in a position of authority. He saw himself being in a position where he was ruling, and he was over his family members. And he didn't understand. He knew it. He recognized that it was something, that a dream that he was given. He recognized that it was something that God was showing him about his life. But I'm quite sure even he didn't even understand the significance of what it was, or where God was going to really take him, or how God was going to even get him there. But everything that happened in his life was all a part of getting him to where he needed to be in God. And don't underestimate the things, even the things that you don't understand, even those hard places you're in. Don't underestimate their importance in getting you to where God has for you, and in preparing you for where God has for you. A lot of times we get to places, but we don't understand the preparation that was utilized even in the hard places to get us where God is taking us, to get us where God has ordained for us to go. So we have to make sure that we understand the lessons and learn the lessons, and what God is doing, and how he's getting us to where he has for us to go. And so I think about Joseph, and I think about how he was leading, and how he was serving, and no matter where he went, he exercised and he operated in the gifts that God had given him. He utilized the gifts that God had given him. He utilized the grace on his life, but he maintained integrity. He maintained honor. He maintained his posture. So he didn't allow himself to get into a place of bitterness. He didn't allow himself to get into a place of despair, because he didn't understand it. And a lot of times we'll and we have to think about this. A lot of times God will show us visions and dreams, and because we haven't gotten there, a lot of times we can get disheartened, and we can get discouraged, and we can kind of lose hope in the process. But Joseph showed us that through everything you go through, there's no reason to lose hope, but there's a reason to operate even in your giftings in the dark place, to show the love of God even in your giftings in the dark place, to operate in the grace even in the dark place, because those dark places are not permanent. They are temporary, and you will get to that place of light. You will get to that place of purpose. You will get to that place of promise. Just stay the course. Just keep walking it out. Just keep doing what God has graced you here to do. Even in those dark places, even in those hard places, just keep doing what God has graced you to do. And so I think about Joseph, and I think about how he just really walked that out. I think about how he didn't know that he would be thrown into a pit. He didn't know that when he had that dream and that vision. He didn't know that he would be thrown into a pit. But he was. He didn't know that he would be sold into slavery and end up in Potiphar's house and end up second in command in Potiphar's house. He did not know that. He did not know that that's where God was going to take him and use him to get even to the palace. But he got to Potiphar's house and he was second in command, and because he operated in integrity, and because he was such a person of excellence, he attracted the attention of Potiphar's wife. And don't think that the excellence on your life does not attract people, because it does. That's another lesson for another day. But your excellence attracts people. It attracts good people, but it also attracts bad people. So don't think that, but you still maintain integrity, because with the integrity comes the reward. With the integrity comes the fact that you can sleep at night and be in peace, knowing that you're operating and doing things in the right way, and doing things from a place of grace, and doing things from a place of good, and doing things from a place of love. So don't lose the integrity. Don't lose the thing that God has given you, because you are supposed to be light in darkness, regardless of what situations are like, regardless of what everybody else is doing. Because a lot of times the world will want you to compromise. The world will be like, oh girl, that's okay. Oh man, that's okay. Do it this way because everybody else is doing it. But you're not called to be like everybody else. You're not called to flow like everybody else, because God has called you out and he's called you apart for a reason. And understand that God has called you out and he has called you apart for a reason. You're not called to be like everybody else. And a lot of times, even myself, I didn't always understand why I couldn't be in the crowd, why I couldn't hang with the crowd, why I couldn't do the things that everybody else was doing, because that wasn't the grace of my life. And that's okay. You can still love people. That doesn't mean that you treat people different, or that you act different with people, or that you still don't walk in love. That's not for that. That's not that purpose. But the purpose is to understand that you can't do everything that everybody else does, and that's okay. That's okay. And it's not people, the friends who love you, the friends who respect you, the friends who understand you will understand that, and they will allow you to be you, and they will accept you as you. They won't try to change you. They won't try to have you compromise the integrity, the your relationship with the Lord, just to be their friends. Those are not your friends. And so for my youth, for those of you who are going to new steps and new areas in your life, like our graduating seniors, kudos to all of our graduating seniors out there. God bless you all as you get to this next phase of your life, this next journey in your life, whether you're high school graduates or college graduates. Understand that this is a new dimension that you're in. This is a new grace that you're in. But you're still called to be light. You're still called to be light. You're still called to be light. You're set apart to be light. You're set apart to be light. So be light, and let people see the light. Folks want the light. They're watching you. They may not even say anything to you, but they're watching you. They're expecting the light. They're looking for the light. They're watching you. So be the light. Let people see that light, because that's what they need. It says creation is groaning. The word reminds us that creation is groaning for the manifestation of the sons of God, the sons and daughters of God. Creation is groaning for you, because it's such a need for pure light. It's such a need for true light. It's such a need for relationship. Those who walk in relationship with God, those who walk in alignment with God's will, God's plan, God's purpose for our lives. It's such a need for that. 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 So don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. Don't lose trust in God. Know that God is with you. Excuse me if I lost you for a second. I'm sorry, I'm on my phone. So excuse me. And a lot of times you can hit this and it just took me off the screen. So excuse me if I lost you there for a second. But know that you're called to be light. And so for my youth, we were able to, my husband and I, we served as youth pastors at Fresh Anointing House of Worship from September of 2021 until the end of March of this year, 2024. And we had an amazing journey. We had such a wonderful time. We really had an amazing group of youth that we served. We were so thankful for parents who were faithful in ensuring that their youth came, and just ensuring that they were there and present. And so we're so very thankful. And some of them have graduated and are going to new phases in their lives. But to me and to us, they will always be a part of our lives. We will always be a part of their village and a part of their journey, because it was such an amazing time for us. We were so very thankful. So I think about them, and we pray for them, and we continue to pray for them and lift them up and pray for their families, and just want the best for them always. And so we were very thankful for that, very thankful to be able to serve in that capacity. And so even with that, I want our youth to know that they are called to be light, and that as they go through these phases, to understand that their relationship with God is the central thing, it's the principal thing in their lives. Everything else is secondary. Yes, they are there to get an education, but without God, that education means nothing. Without God, that degree means nothing. Without God, anything that they attain is nothing. And to walk in the love of God is so important, not just to have God, but to love God and to love people. He says when we don't love, we tell people that we don't know him. So to love God and to know God in the true and integrity of his word, and to love people, to love God and to love people. And he says when you do this, you fulfilled all the law. And you don't have to worry about compromising. He says when you love me with all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul. And then he says when you love people as yourself, you fulfilled every point of law, because honestly you have. When you think about it, when you love God, you don't want to offend him, so you're not going to sin against him. And when you love people as you love yourself, you don't want to do things to hurt them. You don't want to do things that will cause offense. So when you think about that, your life will be in alignment with everything that God has for us. So I want our youth to understand, that nothing that you do in this earth is worth anything if you don't have the Lord. And know that through everything that you go through everything that you face, every situation, every trial, every circumstance, understand that it's all working together for your good. One, because you do love God, and two, because you are called according to his purpose. And sometimes you need to remind yourself of that. It's all working together for my good. It's all working together for my good, because I love God, and because I'm called according to his purpose, and because of that, it's got to work together for my good. I have no other choice but for it to work together for my good. And so I just thank God so much to know that he reminds me of that, even in the times when I'm having a difficult situation or circumstance going on, in the times when things are not happening like I think they should happen. He constantly reminds me, Tiffany, it's all working together for your good. It's all working together for your good. And even when I look back over how life is, there are things that I wanted at certain points in my life that I realize now that I wasn't even ready for. When I think about it, I was, green to a lot of things, very shy, very, very reserved, not even willing to speak up at times, or speak up for myself. And God is, even within these last few years, even with serving as youth pastors, he used those things, that situation, to grow me. He used that situation to grow my husband and I. Because where I started as a youth pastor is not where I am even now, in my growth. And I can see the growth in myself. And even that situation, just serving with my husband, has taught me so much about leadership and staying the course. And he's such an excellent leader. I'm just very thankful for him and for his leadership, and how even he showed me what it means to stay the course, what it means to continue to keep going, what it means to keep the faith in spite of adversity, in spite of everything that happens. So just know that it's all working together for your good. It's all working together for my good. Can you say that with me? It's working together for my good. It's working together for my good. Encourage yourself today to know it's working together for my good. Encourage yourself. Encourage someone who's there with you. It's working together for my good. I may not understand it. It may hurt me right now. I may not feel so good about the situation and circumstance, but it's working together for my good. I may not like it, but it's working together for my good. I may hurt. I may have to cry. I may have been crying just a few minutes ago, but it's working together for my good. I may have been in a situation where I didn't like what was said to me, but it's working together for my good because one, I know that I shouldn't talk to people the way that somebody just spoke for me, or I shouldn't mistreat a person because I know how that made me feel. Sometimes hurt situations come because it teaches us lessons. It reminds us that the way somebody else made us feel, we don't want to make somebody else feel that way. So if you know how that made you feel, then be intentional in not doing the same that was done to you. Don't become bitter. Don't become bitter, and don't become in a situation where you become what hurts you. Don't allow that to be your testimony. Don't allow that to be your story. That you become what has hurt you. That you start being that person that's hurting people because you were hurt. But allow it to make you better. Allow it to understand that, hey, I don't want anybody to feel the way that just made me feel. I don't want anybody to go through what I went through in that situation. I don't want anybody to deal with this thing that I dealt with on the job. So when people come here, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to help them to navigate and to feel good about the job and to learn their role as best I can with the resources that I have, with the things I know, because I know what happened to me. I know how I was treated. I know what I overcame. I know what. So I'm gonna make sure that the person coming behind me doesn't have to deal with the same things the way I did. I'm gonna instruct them in a better way. I'm gonna show them a better way. All of those things, all of that stuff matters. It matters, and God is watching you. He's watching to see if it's gonna make you bitter or if it's gonna make you better. And the thing about Joseph is, it made him better because he was able to tell his brethren. He said, "You meant it for evil. See, you meant it for bad. They may mean it for bad." They meant it for bad. And someone, trust me, they meant it for bad. But he told him, he said, but God meant it for good to save much people. And how many of you have a but God meant it for good to save much people? See, that situation in your circumstance in your life, it was meant to break you. It was meant to hurt you. It was meant to make you cry. It was meant to make you feel low. But God meant it to save much people. But God used it for your good. But God used it to get you to that place of purpose and promise. But God used it to get you to that place that He has for you, where you can help much people, where you can be in a position of authority. You can be in a position that positions yourself, that allows you to be a bridge, that allows you to help people, that allows you to bring resources to people. But God, but God. So how many of you have that testimony? They meant it for evil, but God meant it for good to save much people. Know that God meant it for good to save much people. And because He meant it for good to save much people, you're now positioned right where you need to be. You're now positioned right where you need to be. So go, whatever. And for those of you who are not positioned, for those of you who are in that pit, for those of you who are in that prison on the way to the palace, rejoice. Operate in your gift. Operate in the grace of God that's upon your life. Or show the love of God. Walk out the love of God in all that you do. And allow God to develop you in this time, so that when you get to that purpose, when you get to that place of purpose, that place of promise, that place of destiny, you can look at them and you can look at others and say, hey, you may have meant it for evil, but you know what? God meant it for good to save much people. Fear not, because I'm not gonna mistreat you. Fear not, because I'm not about to get back, because I don't have to get back at you. What God has done in my life is so much better than that stuff that you thought you were doing to hurt me. That stuff that you thought you was doing to frustrate me. That stuff that you thought you was doing to hinder me. What God has done is so much better. And a lot of times, this is a lesson too. A lot of times we will get in places And instead of being rejoicing at what God has done to get us there, we'll be focusing on the people who wronged us. How much of a disgrace and how much of a disservice to God is that? That you would rather focus on the bad things that someone did to you instead of enjoying the place of promise, the place of purpose that God has brought you to. Instead of enjoying the reward that God has brought you to, but you'll allow bitterness, you'll allow resentment, you'll allow all of those hurt things to hold you back and to cause you to stay stuck and not really enjoy the good things that God has brought into your life because you're too busy holding on to stuff that folks have done to you or how you were treated or what was done to you. And that is such a disservice to the Most High God, who has graced us all with life, who has graced us all with good things. It's such a disservice. So remember, whatever happens, don't allow those places, don't allow those things to be more to your life. Don't allow those hurt places to be more to your life than the good things that God has for you, than the good things that God has graced in your life, than the good that God has brought you to, than the place of purpose. Because it all worked together for your good. So tell yourself, it's all working together for my good. It's all working together for my good. It's all working together for my good. You be blessed. You have a good rest of your evening, rest of your week, whenever you may watch this, whether it's morning, night, or day. For those who catch the replay, know that it's all working together for your good. Say it with me. It's all working together for my good. God bless you. Be encouraged. Know that God loves you and He has the best for you. There's nothing greater than being in God's hand. There's nothing greater than walking out His plan, His purpose, and knowing that. It's one thing to just be walking about life, but it's another thing in knowing that God is with you as you walk out this life. It's nothing like that. It's nothing like knowing that. And if you don't have a relationship with Him, if you don't know Him, I invite you to get in a relationship with Him, to learn, to know who God is for yourself. It's not enough for me to tell you, but it's something when you know Him for yourself, when you know God is real, when you know Him for yourself. So get to know God for yourself. God bless you. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful evening, a beautiful, beautiful rest of your week. Stay encouraged. Keep the faith. And remember, you are special to God. You are loved. And there's a purpose and a plan for your life. And it's all working together for your good. God bless you.